Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here. In this third of a series of 3 videos, we are going to dig into how to make a map inside the ArcGIS Online map viewer. Now, we've talked about how to log into your ArcGIS Online organizational account at the University of Minnesota. That's in the first video. In the second video, we talked about how to navigate content inside your University of Minnesota ArcGIS Online organizational account. How to look at your own content, how to look at other people's content, how to look at groups, etc. In this video, let's focus on the map viewer. You're going to spend a lot of time making maps in this course because it's the Mapping Our World course. You're going to use some other tools besides ArcGIS Online, namely Social Explorer, Gapminder, and a few others. But in this particular part of the course, we're going to focus on ArcGIS Online. It is an online GIS, Geographic Information System. It's a SaaS-based GIS, software as a service, or SaaS-based. In other words, it's running in the cloud. You don't have to install anything. It's running with this arcgis.com URL on it, and it's running in a series of servers, Azure, Google, Microsoft, and others. Okay, so you don't need to worry about where this stuff is actually housed. You just need to know how to access it, which is what we're going through in these videos. So if I go to arcgis.com and I sign in using those instructions I listed in the first video, and I go to map, I'm going to get the ArcGIS map viewer, the ArcGIS Online map viewer. The map viewer, as you would expect, contains a base map. And you can notice that you can scroll with your touchpad or your mouse all the way from west to east, north to south, etc., across the globe. So it's a seamless base map. You can change the base map on the left side with other kinds of imagery or topographic maps. So for example, charted territory, there's the charted territory base map. If I want to look at imagery, I've got a couple of different imagery base map choices in here as well. So gosh, lots of choices at your fingertips, topographic, and notice that these are scalable. So as I zoom in, I'm going to see some detail that I don't see at other scales. So map scale matters. And here's imagery, and also there's imagery hybrid that shows me some feature names on top of that imagery as well. So I can see some center pivot irrigation right here in this San Luis Valley here in Colorado, where I am right now. Okay, so we've got a seamless map of the world. We've got layers on the left side as well, where you can add layers and manage content. Any one of these web maps has one or more map layers in it. Indeed, the whole idea of GIS is to look across layers, biomes, population, watersheds, habitat, etc. So we can understand the world in a holistic way by layering map content into a map viewer like this. So let's say we want to add content. I can add content from my own ArcGIS Online organization, stuff that I've created in the past, so I can browse layers here. The first thing it's going to look at is my content. I've got some content in here. The second thing it's going to look at is your organization, the University of Minnesota, maybe that other people at the university have created. And then you can also add content that the wider GIS community outside of the university has added. So I'm going to go ahead and add this community litter survey, and I'm going to add that content into my map. Okay, and I'm still looking at the base map, that's the imagery, so I think I'm going to change that off of the base map and look at navigation, a basic streets map. So now I can see these litter points that I've just added. So this map right here has one layer in it. It has my community litter survey. It also has a base map. So really there's two things in it. Now I can save this on the left side here. Notice there's a little blue button that indicates that I haven't saved it yet. So if I want to save it and come back to it tomorrow or next week, I can save it, give it a meaningful title, etc. And if I save that map, it's going to be listed in my content area. So I'm going to say the San Diego litter map as a demo. Okay, so this is the demo that I'm sharing with you. So I'm going to add some tags here. I'm going to call it litter and then San Diego. This helps me find things later on. Is the San Diego litter map as a demo for the Mapping Our World course. Okay, super. So now I've saved this. I haven't shared it with anyone yet. Only I can look at it. So I don't really need to share it with anyone in this case, but if we wanted to, we could go to share map, and here's where you've got some choices. Right now, it's only shared with me, the owner of the map, the person that created it. You can share it with the organization. Who's your organization? The University of Minnesota. You can share it with everyone, and in some small instances in the course, we'll share with everyone. Most of the time, we'll share with just the organization. And also, we could create groups inside our organization and just share it with them. So right now, I'm going to cancel this. Now, if I go to the upper left here, to the upper left of the map, I can look at my content. So let's go ahead and do that. This shows me the content, as I explained in video number 2, of the organization that you're in, which is the University of Minnesota. Okay, so let's take a look at all my content. And notice that the very first thing that comes up, because I've got it in reverse date sort, so the newest things are at the top, today's date, and the San Diego litter map is a demo. That's the one I just created, right? It's a web map, as we saw. It has a couple layers in it. And notice that the sharing is just with me. I haven't shared it with anyone yet. So that's a little bit about adding content and sharing, and then looking at this particular thing is the last thing I wanted to show you in this particular video. This is your content management page. One of the things that I want you to understand in this course is that there's a lot of content that you can create. You've got a lot of power at your fingertips here in ArcGIS Online, and so do other people. And as time goes on, there's going to be more and more content items. So it's a good idea to be organized about describing your content. So adding a description of what this content is would be a good idea. Maybe making a bit more of a descriptive title. You can do that as well. You can also edit the summary. You can even change this thumbnail, edit the thumbnail, and browse for a different image. Maybe it's a piece of litter or something like that. I'm going to take the default, which is my litter map, a little thumbnail of the litter map, and the layers inside that map have all my layers that are listed. Right now, there's just one layer in it, the Community Litter Survey in San Diego. Okay, and here's where you can also share with owner, organization, everyone, and also with groups. But this is the content management page. So spend a little time in here. You don't need to write your master's thesis or a big term paper in here, but populate this with a little bit of data so that you'll be able to come back to this. This is called metadata, data about the data. The data is map, or the map layer. Spend a little time in here and populate this. You'll be very glad that you did in the future, because it'll help you find your own content easier because you've got keywords in here, and it'll help other people if you happen to share the map, which is one of the key reasons why people like to use online GIS, because they can more easily share things and collaborate on solving problems in water, energy, equity, and other issues of our times. But spend a little time in this metadata content area. Okay, so that is a little bit about your map viewer. How can I get back to map viewer now that I'm in here? If I want to open this content item, I can open it up in the map viewer right now. Now, I haven't saved any of the additional metadata pieces, but it opens it right back up. So how do I switch back and forth? I can go back to content over here in the upper left, and I can go to that content item, the web map. I can open it in the map viewer in the upper right of that. This is where we were a moment ago. Or I could go back to content. Let's go back to content here. And inside content, I can see that as at the very top, right? And then I can click on it and get back to the content item and then open it in the map viewer right from here. The content and the map viewer. The map viewer allows you to not only add layers, but also change the symbology, change the classification method, and other things that we'll talk about later on in the course. But right now, I just wanted to leave it at that. How to make a map inside ArcGIS Online. Let's make one more map before we close. How do I do that? I can go back to Home, and I can go to Content, and I can see that my content in here is the San Diego litter map. That's my most recent thing that I've created. But I can go to Map, right? I can always go to Map at the very top. And inside the map, I have the power to add layers. Let's say I want to add another layer. How about this? Not my content this time, but what if we went to ArcGIS Online? ArcGIS Online, World Ecoregions. What if I wanted an ecoregions map of the whole world? I've got a couple of layers. Freshwater ecoregions of the world, terrestrial ecoregions, and we can see what who the author is of each one of these and be able to assess, do I trust that data? Is it going to be suitable for my needs? That's one of the key themes of our course. I'm going to add this freshwater ecoregions of the world, and I'm going to add the terrestrial ecoregions. So I'm going to add that. I can take a look at the metadata if I want to. Terrestrial ecoregions of the world. All right, super. So as I zoom into that, it's going to take a while to draw because it's all of the terrestrial ecoregions. Let's go ahead and pop up a legend there. It's on the left side, so I can see boreal forest is up here. Yep. The taiga, the boreal forest, etc. And I've got the grasslands. That's probably what this is. Yes, I've got the sub-ecoregions in the larger ecoregions. The ecoregion here would be grasslands, right? But the sub-ecoregion in here is the central mixed grass prairie, and over here is the central tall grass prairie. And even in the central Rocky Mountains, I've got the middle Rocky Mountains, I've got the northern Rockies in Canada, I've got the southern Rocky Mountains in New Mexico, etc. Okay, so I've got some rich content in here, don't I? If I zoom in, I'm going to see even more detail depending on the map layer. Some map layers have deeper layers inside of a larger layer or a global layer. In this case, it doesn't really have a sub layer in it, although the boundaries do get sharper as you zoom in. So here I've got some of the central uplands and the western mountains there in Mexico. Fascinating. So I've got some content here. And again, just like the litter map, here I've got a global layer, and I can save this and call it terrestrial ecoregions, maybe with my initials on it. So I've got a copy now of the terrestrial ecoregions. It's still pointing to the original source, but I've got it now in my own content if I save this, and I can share it with others. And so you've got the idea here, hopefully, from this video of I can add my own content, I can add content that other people have created, and I can save these maps and share those maps as a result. A couple of other last bits. Let's say we're back on Mexico, and we want to create what's called a bookmark there. So I can create a bookmark, and I can call this Mexico. I can add this. Now, if I want to get real tight on Costa Rica, I can then add a bookmark. You probably know where I'm going with this, right, folks? I can add one there. And then if I want to zoom out and get all of South America, I can add a bookmark. Think of these as spatial markers that you can quickly go back into, because maybe I don't want to zoom and pan. I've got zoom and pan buttons here on the right side of the map. I can also grab the shift key, and as I let go, I draw a box and let go. It's going to zoom me into that box that I've let go on. But let's say I want to quickly go back to my bookmark for Costa Rica, Mexico. All I have to do is click on the left side there and all of South America. So that's a quick way for me to get to areas around the planet that I'm interested in. Cities could be individual blocks, streets, rivers, certain kinds of mountains, etc. So those bookmarks can be powerful ways and quick ways to navigate on your map. There's some tools on the right side that we'll get into later in the course. The tools on the left side include the layers that we've looked at a little bit ago. Right now, this map has one layer in it. I've got some tables of data that I can look at. More about that later. We've already looked at the base map. We will create charts in this course. We've already popped up a legend, but there it is. We've looked at bookmarks. We've talked about saving, and the map properties here is a little bit of metadata about the properties of the map. We can also print these and get more information. So the idea is that we can create maps in ArcGIS Online. We can share those. We can populate them with metadata. We can symbolize it, classify, and other things that we'll do later in the course, as well as do spatial analysis, which is one of the most exciting parts about GIS. Thanks for being with me.